Now it's been a while that the new Tata Nexon has rejoined the fierce compact SUV segment, and by now most of you would have formed an opinion on this Tata SUV. Now if you are a Nexon fan or still on the fence, we have done a detailed video on the new Nexon, and make sure to check that video on our channel. But today we will be focusing on one single aspect, an aspect which is very important to Indian consumers, and that is mileage. We have got the Nexon Diesel Manual with us, and we will be putting the ARA figures to test to tell you about the real world fuel efficiency both on the city and on the highway. Let's get going. Now the diesel Nexon is powered by a 1.5 litre engine that puts out 113 bhp and a strong 260 Nm of torque. And with this engine, Tata claims a mileage of 23.23 kmpl with a fuel tank capacity of 44 litres. Now it's time that we put this ARA numbers to test. But in what way? Well, we have a plan. Here's the plan. To give you a realistic picture of the mileage, we will be conducting two tests, the city run and the highway run, both covering a distance of 80 odd kilometers. We go to the fuel pump, fill up the tank, drive the designated route, come back to the same fuel pump, fill up again, and then some simple maths will give us the real world mileage. Sounds good? Let's go. Now we have fueled up to start our city loop, and there are few things that we other do before we start our city run. The first one is that we reset both the trip meters, and once that is done, we look at the AC settings. So we set the blower speed to 2 or 3 max, and after that we set the temperature to approximately 22 degrees or 23 degrees. That completely depends on the outside temperature, but 22 to 23 is the ideal one. And once that's done, the Nexon also gets 3 drive modes, City, Eco and Sport, but we stick to the City mode as that is the default mode every time you start the car. Now a quick word on the engine and gearbox performance in city driving conditions. So this is a diesel and it has a strong 260 Nm of torque, which is spread between 2000 to 4200 RPM, and that's quite generous. You will find yourself upshifting, and in city use that's quite adequate. Now coming to the 6-speed manual gearbox, we do find it good. It is smooth, but the shifts are a bit long and it can get clunky at times. Now another great thing about the Tata Nexon in city driving conditions is the suspension setup. While it may feel a bit stiff at low speeds, but it does a great job in absorbing all the potholes, bumps and uneven surfaces. You will also appreciate how they have set up the suspension when you are seated 4 in the car. An add-on advantage is the 208 mm of ground clearance. That means maneuvering through high position bumps is also easy. We have completed our 81.9 kilometers of city drive, topped up again, and it's now time to see the numbers. The Nexon gulped down 5.83 liters of diesel, translating to a real world mileage of 14.04 kmpl. Now that's impressive because it perfectly matches the MID indicated 14 kmpl. Now with the city test done, it's now time to hit the highways to see the real world mileage. The rules for our highway run was simple. We avoid cruise control, keeping the speeds under the permitted speed limits or under 90 kmph. Like in the city, when out on the highway, the suspension does a good job of ironing out bumps and imperfections, keeping the car planted with reduced body roll. The steering remains responsive at high speeds, allowing for quick corrections and confident maneuvering and overtakes. Alright, so we are back at the fuel pump after logging 93.2 kilometers out on the highway. And this time the Nexon puts in 4.4 liters of fuel, which gives a real-world mileage of 21.18 kilometers. Now it's worth noting that even though its realistic is lesser 21.1, the MID here displayed much more optimistic 24 kmph. Now with the city and the highway test done, now it's time to tell you the combined real-world mileage of the Nexon Diesel. And after our calculations, we are happy to report that it's 15.82 kilometers to a liter. With a fuel tank that is 44 liters, you can now expect a driving range of 696 kilometers on a single tank. Now that is enough to take you from Mumbai to Pune and back thrice, or plan a food adventure trip from Mumbai to Surat and back, or just go on a leisure trip to Goa. Overall, the Nexon Diesel Manual has a decent mileage, especially out on the highway. This is further complemented by the strong low and mid-range performance of the engine and the spot-on suspension setup which we see in all the Tata cars. Although the gearbox could have been a bit more smoother, it's not a deal breaker. So if you're looking for a fuel efficient and powerful SUV for all your city commutes and highway cruising, the Tata Nexon Diesel Manual is definitely worth considering. Now with the Nexon done, there are other diesel-powered SUVs in the segment. We have the Hyundai Venue, Kia Sonet and the recently launched Mahindra XUV 3XO. Which one of these do you want us to test for the real-world mileage? Let us know in the comments below and we'll test it the CarWale style.